My brothers and sisters in Christ, in today's first reading, as Paul's journeys take him further, not only are we introduced to the figure of Timothy, who will go on to prominence, but we hear this interesting insinuation that Paul has plans to go somewhere and is prevented by the Spirit of Jesus. And then, in immediate succession, he has a dream that directs him to go to a different place. Always with any form of writing, and the scriptures are no different. We often, with genre, have to figure out what is literal versus what is figurative in the language of the author. But in this case, while we don't know that it's a vague reference to being prevented by the Spirit of Jesus, you can wonder, well, did some kind of physical force prevent him, or did the circumstances prevent him? And it's okay for this to remain mysterious to us, because it actually speaks to what we can experience in our own lives as part of being people of discernment. As people of discernment, if we become attuned through a life of prayer, we can realize at times not just to look for signs, the 2x4 to the head, so to speak, of promptings of the Lord, but sometimes we can discern both by the spells of consolation and desolation we feel in the discernment of spirits, but also those times when there's great resistance, when it seems like we're swimming upstream, to again be figurative, versus those times when we seem to be with the current. All of these can help figure out, am I in the right course, or is the Lord prompting me a different way? In this case, it may well be that Paul had his own thoughts and ideas of where to go next, but it just seemed it wasn't meant to be. And that Paul then recognized in a dream that the Lord actually wants him to go to extend his ministry in a different place. These circumstances, regardless of how they literally played out, describe exactly how life can be if we live in terms of discernment. And in light of the gospel, which seems so intense, as Jesus speaks of the hatred that we're assured to experience as disciples, we come to realize that both of what we can think of as the good and the bad, both can be of aid to us in discernment. And that is, at times, not only are we to suffer with and for Jesus, but at times, even the suffering can help enlighten us. At times, suffering may just be something to be endured when we're on the right track. But other times, sense of rejection or denial can also be a prompting for the Lord to show us a different way. And so, when we begin to understand this and live lives of discernment, then we begin to see things, the events of our lives, less in terms of good and bad, but more in terms of opportunity in all things. If our goodness is just rooted in union with Christ, of being rooted in his love and his grace, then that's always good. And if we're not putting value in the circumstances of our life, then we begin to see good and bad as far as how much I'm faithful to God's will, not good as far as what happens to me or what I experience. Because as I constantly seek the will of God, whether that leads me through places of great calm or places of great disturbance, nonetheless, I rest secure and in peace, knowing that I am in line with the will of God, because in this I will experience deep union with him, both in great consolation and in those times when I know intimate union with him through the suffering of the cross. And so, my brothers and sisters, I realize that all of these things are a bit mystical that I'm saying. There's not necessarily a straight playbook for this life of discernment. But these readings, while they can seem heavy today, in fact remind us that in all things we can find great joy abiding in Christ, as we've heard in recent days, if we simply remain in him. May God bless you all.